for coming to our College Goals Sunday presentation. Today we are discussing financial aid and how to apply for the upcoming year, 2010-2011. The Kentucky College Goals Sunday program is coordinated by lots of different groups, and you'll see them listed here on the screen. The Kentucky Association of Student Financial Aid Administrators, and then generous support from the Lumina Foundation, the YMCA, Know How to Go Kentucky, KIA, which is our state guarantee agency that administers all our state aid programs, and the Student Loan People, which is Kentucky's not-for-profit lender. What is financial aid? I'm sure that you all came here today so that you can get some financial aid for your students for next year. There are four main types of financial aid. The first, scholarships. Scholarships are awarded to students based on academic talent, maybe athletic talent, maybe because a student belongs to a certain club or organization. And of course, scholarships do not have to be repaid, so that's a good type of financial aid to receive. The second type are grants. Grants are also money that does not have to be repaid, and those grants are given to students to help go to school. So the top two there we call basically grant aid, and those are the two best kinds. The bottom two we call self-help, and these are things that students have to do in order to receive these. So the third bullet there, loans. Of course, loans must be repaid, and that's important to realize. If you need those resources, you are going to have to pay back the loans. But the loans are at a very low interest rate, and nothing pains me more than seeing a student put their tuition on a credit card when I know that there are low interest loans out there available. So we'll talk about those and how to get those in a minute. And last but certainly not least, employment opportunities, which includes our federal work-study program. The federal work-study program allows students to earn money to help pay for college. Students must be paid minimum wage, and they work either on campus or even off campus. So we're going to talk about how to get these four types of aid. Now, from where does all this money come? There are four main sources. When we say the private sector, we mean companies, organizations, employers, maybe foundations, all different types of places, and we'll talk about how to get that private money in just a moment. When we mention institutional here on this slide, we're talking about the college or the university. So you don't want to miss out on any aid that your college or university will give to you as well. The state of Kentucky offers quite a bit of money to students if they agree to stay in state. So we'll talk about those. And then the federal government, your tax dollars at work. And we'll talk about how to get that aid in a moment as well. And there are two big categories of financial aid. And one category is merit-based. And merit-based is simply that. It's completely based on the student's merit. So the college or the university, or the government, for instance, really doesn't care how much you as a family make to go to school. That amount is irrelevant. Awards are based completely on the student's abilities and not financial circumstances. On the opposite side, there is need-based money available. And that need-based money is completely based on the family's ability to pay. And what we will focus the majority of our time later on, talking about that pre-application for federal student aid that families need to complete in order to get need-based aid. So let's jump into merit-based aid now so you don't miss out on any opportunities for that type of aid. There are many scholarship searches that are out there for students now. You can go on the internet and apply, and they'll give you a listing of all the scholarships that are available at a specific school that you might actually meet the academic qualifications. It'll give you scholarships that are national. I went out there and did it, and there was one scholarship listed. It was the Tylenol scholarship, and it was given to one student in the entire country. So you have to decide when you do these scholarship searches, is it worth my time and effort? But now is the time to be doing these scholarship searches if you all have high school seniors. So keep in mind, this is the prime period for outside scholarships. The high school counselors are a great resource for students. There are many small University of Louisville scholarships for only students that go there, or maybe scholarships only for students that go to a specific college or a major, and they're for Louisville residents. And how do you find out about those? Well, they really promote those and market those through the high school counselors. So I don't know what kind of communication you have going on with your counselors, but you want to check, is there a monthly newsletter or a weekly email? And those scholarships are listed there. Students, don't miss out on those, because the ones that are local, you tend to have a better chance of actually receiving. Student and parent employers is another great place to search. Many companies will give some money for a dependent or for even the student. There's some fast food restaurants here in town that will give you a small book allowance if you go to school. So you want to check that resource too and make sure you're not missing any money there. The public library has lots of books and places where you can search if you want to go there. If you don't want to go online to the web and you want to use books, that's a great resource. But of course, the public library has free internet access for all families, and there are some really great scholarship searches that are out on the web that we would encourage you all to consider. If there are any organizations to which your family belongs, maybe you belong to a certain church or a club or like an Elks Lodge or something like that. We see at my institution many that come from bowling leagues. And there are many organizations out there that give scholarships. And I'd say if you belong to an organization, that's a great charity and philanthropy to start, to say, why don't we start giving out a scholarship to a student? It may not be yours, but it might help someone in the long run. So check with your churches and organizations. And last but not least, we really discourage families from paying for help for scholarships. It seems every year that these little postcards come in the mail to families, and they say, if you'll just give us $500, we'll promise you a $1,000 scholarship. And I can promise you that all of those are scams. They'll come back and promise you a $1,000 Keys scholarship. And you would have had a Keys scholarship anyway, regardless if you went with this firm. So avoid those and call us in the local financial aid offices. That's what we do, and that's why we want to help. And we don't want you to miss out on any college or university aid. And the first thing you have to do if you're considering various colleges is to apply for admission to that school. And I would say that when you're applying for admission, the application may be online, and it may be really easy to just type that in and hit the submit button and not take a lot of time on that application. But many colleges and universities really look at that application, and that's the chance for the student to sell himself or herself to that university. I always say going to college is kind of like a courting process. It's a relationship. You have to fall in love with the college, but the college has to fall in love with you. So this is your chance to sell yourself, students, and tell them everything about yourself, because for some schools, the admission application is the only application for scholarships as well. You want to check with each college and ask that very question. Are there other scholarship applications that are required for me, or is the admission application all there is? And they do vary greatly. So you want to check that, and that's a good thing. You can call the admission office or the financial aid office at that school, or you can go on the web and see if that information is there. Now, most colleges or universities are going to ask you to complete the free application for federal student aid, which we'll talk about in a minute, but some colleges want to know even more about you. The FAFSA form has 104 questions, and for most of us in the aid world, after 104 questions, we don't need to know anything else about you and your family. But some colleges dig even deeper, and they want to know more about you. They want to know more about the value of your home, for instance. Maybe they want to know more details of your assets and of your family, maybe your retirement. So there sometimes are separate financial aid applications. So you want to check with that school and make sure you've done everything so you don't miss out on any forms or any aid. And that's the worst part, is when a student says, oh, I just forgot to fill out the form, and they miss out on money. I would also say that if you're going to go visit the college, and by all means, I talked about going to college as a courting thing and as a relationship. Very difficult for me to understand how a student can go to a college without doing a visit. So I'd encourage all of you to go and visit that school and see if it's the right place for you, and meet with admissions staff and get the feel of the campus so you know it's the right place for you. But a good question to ask is, I'm going to study anthropology. I'm going to study sociology. Are there any scholarships for freshman sociology majors? And oftentimes they're not. Many schools will have talent-based scholarships like music or art. Sometimes there are incoming scholarships for engineering or various majors. But there aren't a lot typically for freshmen, because freshmen oftentimes will change their majors. I don't know, those of you that went to college, what your original major was, but mine was actually was pre-pharmacy, and you see I'm not a pharmacist today, so you never know where life's going to take you. So they don't have a lot of money for freshmen, but it doesn't hurt to ask the question so you don't miss out.